Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Navigating the New Era of Customer Engagement, Why CRM is Not Enough, brought to you by Technology Services Industry Association and sponsored by Bold 360 at LogMeIn. My name is Engan Triago, your moderator for today. Before we get started, we just have a few housekeeping items. To maximize your webinar experience, click the question icon in the upper right corner of the registration to check your systems for the most recent versions of browsers and Flash Player. Update to most recent version available for the optimal viewing experience. Audio will be delivered via streaming. You will be in listen-only mode and need to listen via your computer or mobile device. Please check that your computer speakers are turned on. Webinar controls, including volume, are found below the presenter headshot area. To view your webinar, select your link to proceed to the player. If you're already registered, you can access by entering your email only at the top of the registration form, and you can join the webinar from any device. Ask questions at any time by sending in your questions via the Ask a Question box on the left side of the webinar player. Feel free to enlarge the slides to full screen at any time via the full screen button, which will appear in the top right area of the slide area. There will be an exit survey at the end of today's live webinar. Please provide your feedback on the content and experience by filling out the brief survey. And finally, a link to the recorded version of today's live webinar and access to download the PDF of the presentation will be sent out within the next 24 hours via email. Once again, thank you for taking the time to join us today. I would now like to introduce our presenters today, John Ragsdale, VP Research Technology and Social for TSIA, and Dave Campbell, VP of Product Marketing for Bold 360 at LogMeIn. We do have a lot of exciting content to cover in the next 30 minutes. Let's jump right in and get started. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Inga. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Back in San Diego in May at our Technology Services World Conference, I participated in a keynote panel, and I talked about my view of the future of CRM. And I thought at the time I was going to be very controversial, but it turns out I've talked to a dozen or more members since then who tell me they're really on that same track. So I thought I would take the opportunity today to share this view with a larger audience and let you see where I think things are going. So back in the 1990s, I started the product management group at Clarify, one of the original CRM vendors, and I was actually in the room when we first brainstormed the term customer relationship management, which of course is a view of this single platform across marketing, sales, and service to create the, let's say, always talked about but rarely achieved 360-degree view of the customer. But the reality of CRM turns out to be quite a bit different. So in the early days, we had vendors like Clarify and Vantiv and Scopus who were building these highly usable products, very specifically designed for support, high usability, good functionality, etc. And then the industry consolidation began, creating these enterprise CRM suites. And support soon found that their implementation was being hijacked by sales and marketing, and let's be honest, sales and marketing typically have more clout than service in a lot of organizations, and it seemed like every day there were more fields and more screens, usability grew worse and worse, to the point it began impacting productivity of support technicians and call center agents. So when those early cloud solutions for support became available circa 2003, 2005, one of the very first was Right Now Technologies, whose CEO Greg Gianforte is now very much in the news as a controversial senator from Montana. We saw that support began moving off these on-premise enterprise CRM platforms to get to a lightweight application, again designed specifically for support. Sophisticated capabilities, high usability, designed just for support. Then the cycle begins again. Right Now was acquired by Oracle. Salesforce introduced their Service Cloud, and a lot of people jumped on board Service Cloud. And then they started to find that sales and marketing began to take control of those implementations again. New fields were added, new screens were added. They ended up with a lot of vertical and horizontal scrolling, and usability again is impacting productivity. So let's be honest, UI design has never really been a core strength of a CRM vendor. And today I'm saying that companies are keeping their Salesforce or their Oracle or their SAP implementation for the data model, but they're moving to new vendors specializing in highly usable applications for support. So the cycle repeats itself again and again and again. So this is the part that I thought would be controversial, but it turns out larger companies are realizing this already with no input from me. I recently had a conversation with an EVP of technology for a very large company, and she said, and I quote, "It's unrealistic to think that a single application vendor is going to have the tools required for a very large global operation." So they are thinking, and this is what I have begun thinking, that the value of CRM is less about the applications and more about the data model. When we survey members, we know that customer information is stored in an average of 13 separate databases or applications, and so there's a lot of work within IT to move all of this data into a single data model where it's easily accessible, the analytics can be run, etc. So my view is that we need to continue to consolidate that data model, but we should let departments decide what employee-facing applications they need, the features, the functionality, the usability, in order to do their jobs, and just let everything plug into that CRM data model. So my view of the future of CRM is it's a lot more like Google Play Store than the Salesforce App Exchange, that the functionality is going to become smaller and smaller, that you can download functional chunks that instantly plug into your data model. You don't have to have a big implementation team. It should just be download, plug, and play. And this will allow you to pick best-of-breed capabilities for things like remote control, chat, email management, etc. All of these things that CRM does, but they don't necessarily provide best-of-breed capabilities. So back in my keynote I gave at our spring conference, I created quite a buzz talking about a consolidated agent portal so that we would have a way to truly create that 360 view of the customer by allowing another interface to lay over CRM and other applications. And I've got a real-world example of this today from our sponsor, Bold 360, and they've introduced this new agent workspace. So this can immediately plug into not only your CRM system, but any other applications that you may be using to bring everything that agent does to a single screen. So here we see data such as CRM contact account history, omni-channel, so you've got your chat interactions, your email interactions, maybe their self-service, what they've been doing on your self-service website. We're able to pull in workflow capabilities to see any open cases or queuable objects that are out there and what's going on with those, as well as productivity capabilities such as auto-suggest for chat or email conversations or hints on the next process they should take. And notice that all of this is taking place on a single screen. There's no tabs, there's no scrolling. It's pulling the data from wherever it is stored, a lot in CRM and maybe some other applications as well, to create this very clean user interface that is not going to take additional clicks. You don't have to scroll up and down or left and right, and it really just allows your support employees to do the job they need to do without a lot of clicking, alt control, moving from app and app, and trying to find exactly where they need to go to do what they need to do. So I hope that makes sense. It's my view that CRM is going to become primarily for the infrastructure, and we're going to see more capabilities introduced that are simple to download and instantly plug in order to get best-of-breed capabilities but still have that combined data model. So with that, I would like to turn things over to our guest speaker today, Dave Campbell, Vice President of Product Marketing for Bold 360 at LogMeIn. Dave, take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, John. Hi, everyone, and thank you very much for attending today. Spend some time with us. I think this is a great and very interesting discussion. And as John has shared some very insightful points around the state of CRM today, I'd like to take a little bit of time to expand on that with regards to the state of customer engagement, because if you take a step back and step outside of your company or the internal mechanics of your organization and where data is stored, the world today is a lot different than it was just 5 years ago. So, just think about it. We're at a point now where we have the magnitude of the industrial age combined with the speed and the openness of the digital age. And this has created both new challenges for the way that we conduct business, but then it also creates new opportunities as well. And I'd really propose that the world today, while we are vastly farther along in terms of the amount of technology that we have, the world today is a pretty disconnected place when it comes to engaging with your customers, and you got to think about that in terms of why are we at that state? And we're currently at the point where it's more difficult to intelligently engage with customers than it ever has been before. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And really, at the heart of it, that's our mission here at LogMeIn with Bold 360. Our SaaS-based platform is to really provide and work with our customers to empower personalized customer engagement and drive support across channels, across devices, and media in order to deliver better outcomes. Really, at the end of the day, it's about not saving money on the IT systems that you're implementing as much as it is trying to really benefit or increase your ability to hit and achieve your business results, whether that's driving increased customer satisfaction, increased engagement, or the overall efficiency and productivity of your organization with regards to the types of customers that you engage with and the results that come about. Okay, so as we've been discussing on today's call, how did we get here, right? The customer, for many of us, is the center of your business universe today. And, as John touched upon, just like the physical universe, the digital customer universe, all that information, all that data about the customer is very large, and it's continuously expanding. It's just about doubling in size every 2 years. And that's because there's so many other areas to the customer that is now being stored and captured in all of these various points across systems: CRM, finance systems, marketing systems, other types of ERP and organizational systems that are out there. And as customer information expands and grows exponentially, more and more companies are attempting to leverage the data within your business in new and really intuitive ways, right? So we look on the consumer side. There are a lot of examples of retailers that are leveraging this information because they know they can do some pretty incredible things, such as the ability to predict purchasing behaviors and optimize which products get shown on pages or various clicks and scrolls, to allow financial institutions to basically pinpoint and stop fraudulent transactions in a fraction of a second. And even in the healthcare, we're seeing examples where healthcare companies are effectively using information to treat patients differently, whether it's through aggregating information about the patient to diagnose or provide better service of care when you're in for a routine visit. But the reality is that the data, as John mentioned, has just traditionally been siloed, and it's oftentimes manually entered into different databases such as CRMs. And when you start to take and put on the hat of customer engagement, and specifically the real-time digital customer engagement, we're at the point where it's not good enough anymore just to have that static information about your customers and what they have purchased from you. It's about being able to leverage all the 360-degree picture, all of that profile information about that customer's history and trends at the point of the interaction to achieve better outcomes. So when you think about that in the context of CRM, the data in the CRM and ticketing system actually only provides a very small part of the information that you need in order to construct one of these accurate profiles at the time of engagement. And just a few years ago, at a time when the digital footprint was minimal and we just didn't have as much information, raising a ticket and entering information was a natural instance and oftentimes the only action that someone could take. But today, with the proliferation of this digital footprint and all of the different options for interacting and all the different ways that customers are interacting with our businesses, CRM is definitely a component of the equation, but there's much more that you need to consider. When you just think about it, there's probably roughly less than 3% of customer information actually stored within the CRM. So if you're taking a live chat or an interaction on social media or responding to an email, there's a lot that can be gained by leveraging the information about that customer that's been aggregated holistically in order to try to drive and deliver better results. And that's why, in the world today, as I started the conversation, we're just at a point where the distance between the customer and the company has never been as wide as it is today. And I think that's one of the things that we were really trying to focus on and look at how can we start to take steps to reducing that gap and bringing information closer to the point of the interaction to achieve better results. But the good news is that we think that there's an opportunity here, and we're working closely with a lot of our customers, partnering to work on technology, the processes, and the systems in place to start to bring all of these areas together and build better ways to engage customers. And at Bolt 360, we're doing this with our platform as a system that is a complementary system to CRM and allows organizations to basically reimagine or rethink customer engagement for today's world in order to bridge this gap. So the first disruption that we definitely see out there, and is probably of no surprise to anyone, is shifting demographics. People are different. The way that we work, think, and play is different. And millennials specifically are demanding interactions through new endpoints and oftentimes new touch points. And in the next 2 years, we saw some really interesting statistics come out that contact and service centers are expected to see a continued decline in voice and continuous increase in text and social media-based interactions. So this should be of no surprise to anyone that observes today. Oftentimes people are texting digitally, messaging, using social media apps versus actually using your mobile device, and it just goes to show how strong and powerful the smartphone has become within our daily lives as consumers and as businesses. The second disruptor is personalized self-service. So not only are consumers demanding instantaneous, always available interactions that are frictionless and seamless, they're demanding the opportunity to be served in a way that is extremely intuitive to them and that keeps them in mind. So artificial intelligence and AI is really a great opportunity for organizations to look at delivering that personalized experience. And this is something that is all over the news. You hear a lot about chatbots and artificial intelligence and all the way to self-driving cars. And in today's world, AI is really gaining ground, and it's at a point where it's now starting to become really viable in order to provide great personalized self-service experiences. And through some of the recent surveys, 57% of businesses cite that improving the customer experience and support is actually the biggest growth benefit for artificial intelligence in the coming years. 86% have planned AI projects that are being driven by sales, marketing, or support So, the net there is that is all about the customer experience and customer engagement in terms of how do you deliver that through ways that are intuitive, self-service driven, and intelligent. And we're still at the starting point. Over 55% are at the beginning of this process, and organizations are looking at this as the next wave, as the second coming, and plan to invest over the next 12 to 24 months. And then the third area, the last area that we're really looking at within this view is how to tie it all together in real time and at the point of interaction. As the customer's digital footprint increases, as all that information about me as a customer starts to create a profile in the various silos of information within a business that I work with, there's a need to be able to hyper-focus on leveraging that information at the point of the interaction in context in order to deliver better results. And, increasingly, these systems of engagement, they have to be live, they have to be intelligent, and they have to draw on the other various areas within the organization to get the most and maximize the opportunity. Because, by and large, we're seeing it more and more as support and service move from just a business process to an actual competitive differentiator and a moneymaker for an organization. It's absolutely critical that the business is able to deliver on those great experiences consistently time and time again. And that's what we're trying to drive behind Bold 360 as a vision. We're really working and partnering with our customers to deliver these types of systems. So that at an end state, the goal is to get to the next wave. And using a combination of smart, intelligent technology, we can move from systems that are episodic to those that are continuous. We can move from a world where we're on our heels, going through reactive responses, to intelligently moving into the proactive engagement world that we all want to get to, I believe. And we can do it in a way that it still maintains that core competency around phone-based interactions, because that's got to be there, that's the last line of defense, but is increasingly expanding out into the digital world to be able to do it in ways that are going to really allow the organization to scale out without knocking out or eliminating your core SLAs or KPIs. And then, bottom line is to do it in a way that is much more customer-centric. Not only think and manage those back office systems, which I know are always so essential to other areas of the operation of your business, but doing it in a way that's user-centric and that really fits in with the CX or the customer experience mindset to deliver a better experience for your customers, a customer-first digital experience that really handles their needs. And when we do this with our customers, we see great results. That's the upside or the upshot. The ability to really improve on all areas, everything from NPS on. Businesses can turn live interactions into a strategic advantage by connecting the high-value customers at the right time, in the right context, across the right channels, and doing this in a way that is increasingly consistent, and doing it in a way that maximizes the customer lifetime value, the customer satisfaction, and those business efficiencies. And so Bold 360 is an entirely new way of engaging and supporting your customers. It's a SaaS-based platform that delivers on-channel optimization, intelligent automation so that you can automate certain aspects that you want to drive towards self-service, but then ultimately starting to build and create that 360 profile using consumer or customer insights for more efficient and more personalized experiences. And this is something that spans the entire spectrum of the channel, everything from self-help to live chat to social media, all the way through co-browsing and remote support. And we enable consumer-facing businesses to really interact with their customers whenever, however, and wherever they are. And as John mentioned at the top of at the bottom of his portion of the discussion, Bold 360 starts with a user-based interface for the agents to interact with those visitors or with those customers as they come in, and makes it really easy for them to do it, to keep it all in one view, and allows the interaction seamlessly to move across different systems, whether it's data that's stored in the CRM or elsewhere. And so it's really a powerful combination to be able to bring digital channels together in a unified way and take on the traditional customer service by bridging the gap between the customer and the vital business information that is locked or unlocked by using Bold 360 as a service. And at the core of it, our goal is to help companies deliver immediate and personalized experiences just as any of their consumers would expect. So if you'd like to learn more, we're extremely thrilled. Log Me In will be sponsoring and participating at TSIA or TSW in Las Vegas this year. So if you plan on attending, we are exhibiting, and you can come and visit and talk to us more about Bold 360, Log Me In, or any of our other products. And I definitely thank everyone for the time. I definitely enjoyed, John, your presentation at the top. I think it's a really provocative topic, and something I know a lot of people are talking about as we talk to our customers. So I'm really interested to transition it back to you and Inga and go through some of the Q&A.
Great. Thank you so much, Dave and John, for an outstanding session today. You shared some really compelling data, especially some fascinating data around the adoption of AI. So very interesting. So we are going to the Q&A portion of today's presentation. If you have any questions for John or Dave, take this opportunity to ask those questions live via the Ask a Question box on the left side of the webinar player. So first question is for Dave, and of course, John, you could definitely chime in. But where do you see the most useful application of AI within the customer experience, and is anyone doing it well today?
Yeah, that's a great question, Inga. So I think the one that's all over the news, which I briefly mentioned, was automation around chat, right? So I think where we have a lot of interest in chatbots as a means to basically answer certain types of questions. And it's interesting because I've spent a lot of time over the past 6 to 12 weeks talking to customers that are at different stages, some that have already implemented chatbots, some that are just starting to think about it. And the net is that the chatbot automation opportunity allows you to really drive a better portion of your chat volume through an automated self-service channel. Typically, the types of content that people automate depends on the business. So oftentimes what I see is that the customer will want to automate the highly repetitive, low-value interactions, the type of interactions they don't want to spend the time having their live agents deal with, because either one, they're not going to be making any money off of it, or there's no return, or two, there's high-value customers that are then being put behind a queue that they want to be able to pull in and move faster. So, I think there's some really good examples out there in the travel industry. Thomas Cook, who's an online travel retailer in Europe, has a great combination of live chat and automation on their website, where they're using tools to basically automate frequently asked questions around reservation services online. And when the questions aren't answered through the self-service, there's always the ability to escalate that into a live interaction through live chat, and it's done an amazing job at being able to deflect almost about 20 to 30% of their chat volume through self-service and still maintain the main KPIs that they're looking to achieve from chat as a whole.
Great. Thank you so much, Dave. So we are coming to the conclusion of today's live webinar. I'd like to take this time to thank Dave and John again for a very, very interesting and informative session today. Just a couple of quick reminders before we close out for today that there will be an exit survey at the end of today's live webinar. Please take a minute or two to provide your feedback on the content and experience by filling out that brief survey. And finally, there will be a link to the recorded version of today's live webinar and access to download the PDF of the presentation that will go out to everyone within the next 24 hours via email. I'd like to take this time to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us on today's live webinar, Navigating the New Era of Customer Engagement, Why CRM is Not Enough, brought to you by TSIA and sponsored by Bold 360 at LogMeIn. My name is Inga Triago, your moderator for today, and look forward to seeing you on our next TSIA webinar very soon. Have a great day, everyone.